Okay, welcome to session 7. We're looking at averages and the mean in a more kind of complicated question. The averages at this level are going to be linked to tables, so that's what we will be working on. You can see there's no recap. That's because of the consolidation last session. We've done an awful lot, and it's quite nice to take a break before they come back. So they'll be back next session, but we're just going to concentrate on this at the moment. So looking at averages in tables, the main questions that you could be asked are the mode, the median, and the mean. So we're going to look at all three. I'm going to try and give you some background knowledge as to why we use the methods that we use. We'll then look at another one without all that additional information, because I think the first time with the extra knowledge going in can make it feel a little more confusing. So it's really worth watching the second one as just a piece of maths, so that when you have a go, it will feel hopefully a little bit easier. So let's start off with the mode. The mode is the most common. So that doesn't change just because we're now in a table. So when I look at this table, I've got numbers in the frequency column, and I've got numbers here that have been grouped into a class width. So we don't know the story. There would be a backstory on the GCSE question. They might be talking about the height of sunflowers, for example. So if these were the height of sunflowers, that's telling me that there are 12 flowers that grew to a height of 30 to 40. Okay, I don't know their numbers. They could be 31, 32, 37, 38.5. I haven't got that detail. I just know 12 fit into that class width and 14 fit into this class width, and so on. So this 14 is representing the class width with the most. So 14 isn't the answer, which is what I sometimes see. 14 is just the indicator. You've got more in this class than you have in any other. So my mode would be written down as 40H50 for my mode. Now, median is the middle value, and just like the mode and the mean, when we get to the mean, they don't change their meaning. The median is the middle value. So if I had a long list, I just boom, 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 boom until I get into that middle, don't I? But this isn't a list, it's a table. And I don't want to start trying to write a list because it's just not efficient. So what I am going to do is I'm going to use a little formula and use that to help me. And I'll show you how that formula works on a slightly different question. So if I had a list 5, 6, 7, and 8, I know that I could cross those off, find the middle here, and give the answer that the median is 6.5. So that's what I currently understand for the median. And I don't have to think about some kind of formula. It sounds like it's going to be hard, but I promise you it's not. I could have used the formula, which is n plus 1, and then divide through by 2. N is the number of digits or values that I have in the list. So in that list, I have 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And when I divide by 2, I get 2.5. 2.5, this number here is telling me the position of the median. It's not telling me the median. So if I go back to my list now, there is 1, there is 2, there is 3, and in the 2.5 position, I have my median. So you can see on that very simple list of numbers how that formula is helping you locate. So I'm going to be using that idea on my table. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add up the frequency of my table. So this adds up to 40. Okay. Now, if I'm going to do the median properly, I would add 1 and divide by 2. If you were to forget and divide by 2, chances are it's still going to work, but it wouldn't be accurate of me to not show the +1, okay? So for the median, I'm going to do my 40 plus 1 and half it. So that is going to give me 20.5. Now remember, that's the position. And I'll write it down again. That's the position of the median. So now when I go back to my table, this first row holds 12 numbers. So it holds the first number, the second, the third, the fourth, all the way to the 12th number, which means this row here starts with the 13th number. Okay, and then it's got another 14. So I just add the 12 and the 14, which is 26. And that helps me work out that the second row starts with the 13th number and it keeps going until it gets to the 26th number. And then when I go to the next column, I know the 27th number in this list starts in the third row. I'm adding the 10 to the 26. So I've gone 12, add that 14, I've got 26. Add that 10, I've got 36. So these numbers start at 27 and go to 36. And then I add on that 4, which takes me to the 40th number. So that last row has the 37th to the 40th. 37, 38, 39, 40, the 4 digits we would expect it to have. So that's how you can look at the frequency as the positions as well. I obviously want the number that lies in the 20.5 position. So here, in between 13 and 26 is my 20.5. So this is the class width with the median in it. So the median is actually the same as the mode. It's actually a 1 marker in the exam, which feels really stingy with the amount of thinking that goes behind it. So like I say, next time I'm going to try and not go too deep into the background. And when we just see it as a couple of steps, it may feel and flow better. All right. So the last one that we now need to find is the mean. And again, I'm going to give the understanding to the method that we're going to do. So mean is add them all up and divide by how many are there. And again, that doesn't change. That is how you find the mean. First off, I can't actually add them all together easily because I don't know what the numbers are. I know there are 12 numbers in this section here, but I don't know their values. They could be 32, 33, 36, 38.2, 39.1. I have no idea what the real heights are. So I need to consider a number that will represent this class width fairly. And that number would be the midpoint. So 35 would represent this class in the calculations that I'm going to need to do if I'm going to find a mean. So I've got to add them all up. So I've got 12 lots of 35. That would be 35 plus 35 plus 35 plus all the 35s until I did the 12th one. And then I would start adding 45 and 45 and 45 to my total until I did that 14 times, because 45 here is the midpoint and it's taking that class width fairly and it's adding itself over 14 times because the frequency tells us to do that. And each row will get treated the same. 55 is the fair representation of that class width, and I'd have to add that 10 times over. And then I've got 65 that I would add 4 times over. So if I was to add my 35s up in a chunk, I would basically be doing 35 times 12, wouldn't I? So that is what I'm going to do here in the table. 35 times 12 is 420. So 35 plus 35 plus 35 plus 35 plus 35 over and over 12 times, I get 420. It's not adding them all up, it's just adding all the 35s up. And when I multiply the 45 by the 14, I will get 630, and that's all the 14s added up. 10 times 55 is 550. That is all the 55s added up. And 65 times 4 is 260. And that is all the 65s added up. If I want to add them all up and get a total of how many are there, add them all up, then I have to do a final addition here where I do all those individual totals and get a grand total here. So I've added them all up. I have to divide by how many are there. This is the biggest mistake I see. People divide by 4. They divide by 4 because there's 4 rows. The rows are just the organization of the data. It's just the table. It's got nothing to do with how many are there. How many are there is here in our frequency. I've got 12 in this class and 14 in this class and so on. So this total frequency is how many are there. So I've got a total of 40. So I'm going to divide by how many are there, divide by that 40, and I get 46.5. Now, when you see this as a question, it is going to use the language estimated mean or estimate a mean from the table. Words along that line, but importantly, they're going to ask for the mean, but they are going to say it's an estimate. And it's nothing to do with the estimating that we did earlier on. We're not rounding to one significant figures or anything like that. We're not guessing. What we're doing here, when we take the midpoint and we take that fair representation of the class, we are technically estimating at this stage here. I'm suggesting that there are 465s in this data, which isn't necessarily true, is it? So that's what makes it an estimated mean and not a real, true, perfect mean. So when you read that estimated mean, don't be thinking significant figures. Don't be thinking you've got to guess. There is a step-by-step method we have to stick to, and that is what we've just seen here. Now, a way to remember that method is to use the word MAD. So when you see estimate the mean, you want it to trigger MAD. The reason for that is because it steps us through the method. The first thing that we did was take the midpoint and multiply it. That's the first step, M for multiply. We then added these totals. That was our second step, and our second step was to add. Our third step is here, where we divided. So the divide is the D. So that is the MAD method for finding an estimated mean. And it can be, you've got to find things that will trigger methods because you've got a lot to recall and a lot to remember. So this could be really useful. Okay, so we're going to see it again. Let's just move that to there and we'll clean off this so it's not in our way. Here we go, that'll do. So, don't want that mode at the bottom poking through. Let's move that up. There we go. All right, so if you're feeling really confident, you may be ready to just pause and have a go at this. And I would obviously encourage that. Equally, I know that's a lot of information in one go, and you might just want to just see this walk through one more time before you do have a go. So the choice is yours. If you want to hit pause, pause. If you want to stay and just watch this through again, absolutely do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my mode. So looking down here, I can see that's the biggest frequency. That's my modal class. So my mode is equal to 4, 5. So my median, I know it's got to be the total plus 1 divided by 2. So I'm going to need the total of this table, which is 90. And I'll pop it on there. 90 plus 1 is 91. Divide that by 2. You've got 45.5. So now I'm going to go here. So I've got 30 in this column. If I add on the 32, I've got 62. And I'm not even going to bother with the next one because I can see I want 45. And it must lie in this one here because this is my 31 to 62. So it's giving me the same class width as the mode. So we'll pop that on there. And now we're going to start estimating the mean. So the mean is the MAD method. So we're going to multiply first. So the midpoint here is 3.5 times. So I'm going to just write those down first of all. And then obviously in my calculator, I will get the answers. So I've got 105, 144, 99, and 65. Add those and I've got 413. So I've done the adding stage as well. I've got that already done from when I did the median. So I can do the divide step now. So D for divide, 413 divided by 90. That is going to give us 4.58. On it goes. So we'll round to 1 decimal place. And throughout this session and the worksheet that you do at the end, all the rounding is just going to be done to 1 decimal place. In the exam, you just obviously follow whatever instruction they give you. And if they don't ask you to round, don't round, okay? If they don't ask you to do it, don't do it. All right, so hopefully that felt a little smoother without all that extra information going on. I would like you, please, to pause if you didn't, especially before, but please now have a go, because as you're doing this, it might raise other questions. And then when you're watching through that video, you'll be really homing in on that question that you had as it comes up through the modeling of this question. So press pause and hit play when you're ready. Okay, so I am going to look at my mode. I can see 21 is the biggest number, so that's my class width. So we've got 30 H to 40. The median, okay, so I need to do my total frequency, which is 46. So I'm going to do 46 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 47 divided by 2, which is 23.5. Okay, so the first two are here. I'm going to add those, and that gives me 18. I'm going to add those, which is going to give me 39. I can stop there. I'm looking for 23.5. The second row only goes up to 18, so it's definitely not in there. The third row goes up from the 19th number to 39. So it lies in this row here. So we've got 30. Now the mode and the median do not always land in the same row. So this is a coincidence that we're seeing the same thing. Don't think, oh, once I find the mode, I can just copy the median, because that is not always going to work. All right, so going on to our MAD method then. So we're going to do that multiplying first. So let's just clean that up. So this is going to be 15, 25, 35, and 45. So I'm going to multiply all of these up. I've got 30, 400, 735, 315. Okay, and at the add stage, this is adding to 1480. I've already got my frequency added from when I did the median. So now I'm at my divide stage, 1480 divided by 46. And you've got 32.173, on it goes. So 32.2, correct to 1 decimal place. And if you got that right, really well done. Lots going on. Okay, so we're going to move our attention now to the complex mean style questions. All right, so we're going to warm up with something a little bit, hopefully straightforward, and then that will help us understand better how to do the harder questions. So let's say I have got 4 numbers. I've got 15, 17, 9, and 11. There's a 5th number in the data that I don't know. I'm being told the mean is equal to 14.4. And I'm being asked to work out that missing number, that 5th number, that X. Now, our method for finding the mean is add them all up and divide by how many are there. And it's that exact method that's going to help me solve this problem. Yes, it's a little bit more complex, but it's not going to change. We're not deviating from our knowledge. We've just got to apply it in a slightly different way. So let's think about it. If I have to add them all up, I'm going to do 15 plus 17 plus 9 plus 11 plus X. Add them all up. So when I've added that, I will get 52 plus X. I can't get the X into the 52 because I don't know what number it is, but I can tidy all those numbers up. So you add them all up, you divide by how many are there, which is 5 numbers in total, and you know, because of the story, that that equals 14.4, because that's the mean. Add them all up, divide by how many, equals the mean. Now this is just turned into an equation. And if I want to know what X equals, I've got to get it on its own. So we are going to move the divide by 5 to the other side, where it will land as times by 5. Remember, it always lands as its opposite. That leaves me 52 plus X on this side. And that is going to equal 14.42 times 5, which is 72. I'm then going to take off the 52 to leave X equaling 20. And that's the missing number from the data set. So I haven't changed my understanding of the mean. I'm just using it a slightly different way. So I want you to have a go at that now, okay? So I'm going to give you 15, X, 21, 9, and 16. I'm going to tell you that the mean is equal to 13.8. I want you to press pause and have a go at that question. Okay, so when I add them all up, I get a total of 61 plus the X. I need to divide by how many are there, which is 5, and it's going to equal 13.8. Now I need to get it on its own. So that is going to times by 5 to leaving me 61 plus x equaling 69. I'm then going to take away the 61, x is on its own, and it equals 8. So hopefully that went well. Right, let's do one more before we see some other questions that link to this sort of thing. So I'm going to give you 10, 14, 17, x, 12, and 12. I'm going to tell you the mean is equal to 13.8. Off you go. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, so add them all up. I've got 65 plus the x, the value I don't know yet. This time we're dividing by 6, and it should equal 13.8. So get x on its own, times through by 6. 65 plus x is equal to 82.8. And then take off that 65, and x is equal to 17.8. So hopefully that went well. We are moving on to just see how this starts to differ in these sort of wordy questions. So we're going to kind of do one at a time, and we'll work. Don't want the next one to kind of interfere with what we're doing here. So you're going to get these slightly wordy questions with stories attached to them. So you've got to pick apart all that information. So a class contains 18 boys and 29 girls. So I know there are 18 boys, I know there are 29 girls, but I also know by adding them how many are in the class. So I've got that piece of information there as well. The boys got a mean test score of 69 and the girls got a mean test score of 70. What was the mean test score for the class? So what I need to do is, first of all, work out the total for the class. If I haven't got that, I can't work out the mean. And I need to know the totals of the boys and the girls in order to do it. So what I will be doing is saying there is a total that got divided by 18 to equal 69. So where did that come from? I've got 18 boys and the boys got a mean score of 69. That means there was a total that when it got divided by 18, it gave the result of 69. So this is exactly what we were just doing. I want to know what that total is. So I'm going to get that 18. It's going to times by 18, and that is going to give me 1,242. So that was the total. Now, again, I don't know the 18 individual numbers that the boys scored, but I do know the total of those 18 numbers, and that is your 1,242. So I repeat this with the girls. So the girls had a total that when it got divided by 29, it equaled 70. So you divide through, take the divide, it lands as a times. And now I've got a total for the girls as well, which is 2030. So the total for the class is the total of the boys and the girls added together, which is 3,272, divided by the total in the class, so 18 plus 29, which is 47. When you divide that through, you get 69.61, and on it goes. So 69.6 is correct to one decimal place. Okay, so that's the next question. A little bit of space between that one and the next one, which is nice. I'm actually going to leave the workings out that I've done for the first question. I'll just bring it down so you can see everything. I'm going to leave that working out so it can help guide you. And then that way it gives you a chance to have a go at this question or check in with the steps that were done before. So press pause and hit play when you're ready. Okay. So this time we have the mean score of a class. There's 21 pupils in the class and it's 57. So there's a total that when you divide through by 21, it gives you 57. This is the class, all right? So times through by 21, and you've got an answer of 1197, and that is the whole class. And doing like little labels like this can be really helpful in not getting confused. They then start talking about the girls getting a mean score of 61. So there's a total that when it got divided by 9, gave a mean score for the girls. So we times that through, and the girls got 549. Okay, so that's my 9 girls. I want to find out what the boys' mean score is. So the whole class, the boys and the girls, are 1,197. If I take off the girls, I get take off the 549, I get 648. So that's the boys' total. I'm going to take the 648 and divide by how many boys there are. If there's 21 in the class and 9 of them are girls, then that means 12 are boys. 648 divided by 12 is 54. So the boys' mean score was 54. Now, there's no shortcuts with this. You literally have to go through all of that. But what you're hopefully seeing is it's pretty much the same process. It's only the story that's changing. Everything else, that kind of step through process, is the same. The only thing that could happen is just losing a little bit about what numbers are what. So doing this type of labeling can help with that. Okay. All right. So here's the next question. Just pull that one down. I'm going to clean this off now. Okay. And I'd like you to have a go at this question. Okay. So press play when you're ready. Okay. So the mean height of 12 girls is 144 centimeters, and the mean height of 18 boys is 148 centimeters. Find the overall mean height of the class. So I've got a total for the girls that when it got divided by 12, it equaled 144. So I'm going to times through by that 12, and that's going to give me 1,728. And that's the girls, whoops, there it is, badly written. That's the girls' total. And then there's a total for the boys. When it got divided by 18, it gave 148. So I'm going to times through by that 18, and that is going to give me 2,664, which is the boys. The total of the class means I need a total. So 1,728 plus 2,664. That's going to give me a total of 4,392. I'm going to divide that through by the total in the class. 18 plus 12 is 30. And that's going to give me 146.4 centimeters. Keep the units if you've got units. Okay. So we've got one more. I'd like you to hit that pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got the mean of 10 numbers. So I had a total that got divided by 10 and gave 6. Times that through by 10, and I've got 60. So that's the mean of 10 numbers. The mean of 6 of those numbers was 7. Okay, so the mean of 6 of these numbers is 7. So there's a total. When I divide through by 6, it gives me 7. So times that through, and I've got a total of 42. And that is 6 of the numbers. What is the mean of the remaining 4? So the total 10, take away the total of the 6, what to say 7 then, 6 take away the total, 10 take away the total of the 6 is 60, take away 42. That is 18. I'm going to divide that through by 4. And the answer is 4.5. Okay. All right, so what we've got is a worksheet. Okay, so that's already available as a printable resource. Okay, I'm going to expand that, just make it a little bit bigger and scroll through it slowly, because if you haven't got a printer, that is quite small. And then the answers I'll do the same with, and I will then see you next session. So well done. That was a lot of information in one session.